Hey friends, it's Arlie with Cargo Bike Life. I'm finishing up my full review of the Tern Orox adventure cargo bike this week, and I wanted to share with you just the core accessories I've been using. So I pulled out the bike this morning, and this is really just a rundown of the accessories I use every time I get on the bike. Depending on the adventure, I might swap or add things, but these are the main things that I've come to love on this bike. So I'm just going to walk through head to tail and show you those accessories. Starting off with the front of the bike, you'll see that I've actually moved my Kiox 300 over to the side of the stem. Typically it's mounted right here, and that's in case I need to do some trail side maintenance. I rotate this LED remote and this Kiox out of the way and can rest the bike on its handlebar grips and seat. The bike does have vertical stand, but I don't always have something to strap it to. This is the Peak Design mobile mount, works with my phone case. And then on the front, this is a Randy Joe bag. I'm using some Peak Design clips for camera, and what I do is I take this off and use my camera strap and use this as a shoulder bag or a fanny pack. These are wide foot cages, and they have the 3 bolt mounts, so they're super wide, tall, and you can mount different bags or water bottles to them. This is the frame bag that comes with the bike. It's dual-sided. This is the big side, so you can mount a second battery in here. I'm typically using my battery in the back to keep the weight in the middle and as low as possible. And it gives me this huge space. So you'll see I'll keep tripods and all sorts of things in here. Normally my flat kit's in here, which I'll save for another video. But I definitely always have a batten strap here. And then when it was cold, this is where I would stash my gloves or base layers that I was taking off throughout the ride. And then this is the stock 725 watt-hour battery on the S12. The R14 does come with a slightly bigger battery. You can run 2 batteries on this bike. And then right here is a Randy Joe bag. This is the Big Mutt, I believe. And I have a couple of these that I will run on the fork, but this is where I just like to leave it. It's a roll top, and I keep my lock and then snacks for the kids if they're running on the back. And then back here, kind of looking at key accessories again, this is the Clubhouse Gen 3. This is the Clubhouse you have to run with this bike. I have a couple of the seat pads and then the back rest. I carry typically 1 kit on here. Don't carry 2 very often. I don't really like how high they are. I have a 9 and 6-year-old, so it gets kind of heavy. And I like this because I can throw in, a crate. What was in there before was my weather top cooler, and it just goes in, and then you kind of swing it around and squish it in. See if I can do this one-handed. And then you can throw a bungee over top. I also put the weather top bags down here. These are the Stodex. They can fold out of the way with this pin, and then they lock into place, nice and secure. And they've made it so there isn't a rattle, which is nice. Moving back on the bike, we have the Tern XL wheel guards. I do find these to be a requirement, even if you're not using it for passengers, because I often am snugging up goods using these Stodex with straps, and you don't want that to go in your wheel. So I do recommend these wheel guards. Right here is a little hitch for my Burley trailers. You'll see that I have it angled down a little bit, and that's because this mounting point is so high that the little trailers have a little bit of a struggle, and the arm wasn't straight. So if it's parallel to the ground, the arm was coming off and kind of bending. So I loosened it and now have it in a nice line straight to the trailer. And you'll see that I'm only running 1 cargo hold 72 bag. I like to keep 1 available to throw things in, like kayak paddles, camping gear, all that fun stuff, but I haven't really found a use for 2 of them. I like to keep the Stodex available on one side without this cargo hold bag on the other. And then the last thing you don't see is I have sealant running in my tubes to help prevent flats. If this was my bike, I would be switching these handlebars to something a little bit more swept back and not so wide. Even if I was to cut it, it's a little bit uncomfortable for me. I would prefer a sweep on my bar. And then I would switch to a dropper post just to be able to get down and low when I'm riding it, but also to get on and off a little bit more easily when I've got cargo. Just note that this seat post, stem, and handlebars are rated for a really high max rider weight. So if you switch those out, just know that might change. And then the last thing I do want to mention, this was my bike. I would be running a Garmin running straight into the power of the motor with their little edge charger. This isn't my bike, so I didn't go through the hassle of that. But if I was going out in the woods, I would rely on a Garmin for sure for my navigation and not the Bosch GPS system. All right, that was my quick rundown of my accessories right now on the Tern Orox. Obviously, this bike can morph into so many different things, so I would love to hear from you how you're going to be using it and what accessories you think are going to be your core accessories. I will be working on another video showing my flat kit because it's definitely different than my city bikes because these tires are a little bit harder to get off and I don't ever want to be stranded out in the woods. So I definitely am carrying a lot more goods. Make sure to go check out the full review on cargobikelife.com, linked below. And I'll put a couple more videos here all about the Orox. All right, thanks for watching. And hey, let me know in the comments below how you're gonna leave the car at home this week.